gonna shove it.
Yeah!
He's gonna shove it.
Alright, it's the leader of the Smack Pack back again with another attack. I'm somewhere else right now, so we had to find a video that just worked for me. They can't all be half an hour smash fest like CM Punk in AEW, but today it might be a short video, but it is an equally intriguing video. Well, it is for me at least. Turn those stupid cricket noises off. We don't need no sound effects around here. Alright, Ring of the Hawk Season 4. The show where we watch back a wrestler's short run with a company, and at the end, we shove them a final grade to see if they can do the JOB to the HAWK. Quite frankly, we haven't got high hopes for today's competitor, but surely he could do better than Raka Khan, who is currently in last place. Today's guy is a wrestling legend. She is not. At least she's hot. Alright, it's Lochness. How he ended up in WCW is anyone's guess. Now, Lochness / Giant Haystacks may not look like much in the ring, but over in England, this guy was legendary, and his feud with Big Daddy main evented shows up and down the country. They mostly just kind of slopped into each other, but at the same time, this stuff was the thing of dreams. It was helped by the fact that there was a clear face and a clear heel dynamic. Haystacks was of course the heel. Standing at 6'11" and billed at 685 pounds, everyone in the UK in the 70s and 80s knew who Giant Haystacks was. He was actually born in England and was of Irish descent, but he became Scottish somehow in WCW. By 1996, he had retired from wrestling with dodgy knees. He was actually working as a debt collector to pay his bills, which is why it was really strange when in 1996 WCW decided to sign the way past it Giant Haystacks and rename him Lochness, after the famous Scottish lake and monster. Match 1, WCW Main Event. So we're not even debuting him on the main show? Well, that's not a very good start, is it? Out walks the Taskmaster, Kevin Sullivan and Jimmy Hart. They are the Dungeon of Doom, a wacky bunch of people. Taskmaster starts fighting with Jim Duggan, who is already in the ring. We finally see Lochness casually strolling down the ramp. The bell rings, and Duggan versus Lochness is officially in the history books. They stop Duggan from hitting Lochness with his little stick, and he lands a smack. Lochness now lands a devastating elbow drop. Sergeant Craig Pittman rushes the ring, and Lochness takes care of him easily. The ref throws the match out. Now it's Buddy Lee Parker's turn, and random jobbers just keep rushing the ring, and Lochness just keeps knocking them down. After hitting 6 or so elbow drops, it looks like Lochness is struggling to get up. Ugh, his teeth are all rotten. Not doing much good for British stereotypes, are we? This was a pretty good debut. He looked like a major threat and his shortcomings weren't too obvious. The debut gets a C. Would be higher, but he didn't really beat up anyone of note. Lochness is next seen at the Super Brawl pay-per-view. Hogan is busy killing 8 men all on his own when Lochness rushes to his faction's aid. His faction, the Dungeon of Gloom, hold him back for some reason, and it looks like we can expect to see Hogan vs Lochness really soon. Match 2, WCW Nitro. Scott Riggs, the American male, taking on Lochness Monster with Jimmy Hart. It feels like the walk to the ring lasts for quite a while. The lighting's really interesting here too. As you look around, you have to acknowledge what a lovely show this was to look at. This Lochness is really big. The other day, I went shopping in Asda, and the bill came to £200, which is a lot. Anyway, Scotty Riggs starts punching at him. A running dropkick has no effect on the Lochness Monster. Riggs quickly climbs to the top rope, and he throws another dropkick to zero effect. The Rig Man decides to do it again, from the top, but Lochness is supposed to catch him. Instead he drops him and falls on top of him. How embarrassing. Lochness looks to drop the elbow, but he hesitates for some reason. Now he does hit his elbow drop. Nothing's happening. Another elbow drop and it's over. Wow, that has to be one of the most embarrassingly bad matches I've seen of all time. It was only a minute long and the whole thing was terrible. Is he actually capable of doing any other moves other than an elbow drop? Poor Scotty Riggs. Shove this one in the zone. Match 3, WCW Saturday Night. American male Buff Bagwell versus Lochness with Jimmy Hart. Bagwell dodges him straight away and starts desperately punching. He takes a run up, but he can't take Lochness down. He switches to a punch to the gut, which seems to be working well for Bagwell. Works well for me anyway. He does get Lochness stunned in the corner and he hits a dropkick. The gut punches are super effective. Bagwell connects with 10 smacks in the corner, almost falling over in the process. Lochness pushes him to the mat, and then he drops the elbow, and that's the entire match. You've got to be kidding me. Is this the most limited competitor of all time? He makes Giant Gonzalez look like Ric Flair. It's going in the zone again. Match 4, Nitro. This Wonder Kid, Alex Wright, and he takes on the Lochness Monster, again with Jimmy Hart. This is a European matchup if you didn't know. It's pretty exciting. Lochness also has new music which sounds like it's from a 70s horror film. This Wonder Kid executes a forward roll. He grabs Ness's arm and he shoves him away. Wright is ducking and weaving like a professional boxer. He makes the bad decision though to go behind Lochness, who legitimately struggles to follow the action. Alex Wright drop kicks him in the head to get his attention. Wright starts charging at him. Be careful. Ness puts him on the top rope, where Wright puts him in a sleeper. After 10 seconds or so, Lochness shoves him away. Now Alex Wright runs into a bear hug. Surprisingly, Lochness can't make him tap out, and he boxes Lochness on the ears to get him off. This Wonder Kid just won't quit as he smacks the monster time and time again. Wright hits a strike in the corner, but then he runs straight into a boot to the nutsack, and Lochness drops the elbow for the free. Pretty sure that's how he used to finish his matches in his prime. Lochness screams into the camera, "I'm coming for you, Hogan." This one was actually watchable. Don't get me wrong, it was nothing good, but it certainly wasn't offensive. And nothing went wrong, so I give this one a D. Match 5, WCW Saturday Night, 2-on-1 handicap match. Lochness with Jimmy Hart. What is going on with this? He now has Rey Mysterio's music, and he takes on jobber Kenny Shaw and the Shadow from Parts Unknown. This guy must be more than a jobber with a name like that. Shadow is dumped on his ass within seconds. He tries a run up instead, but once again he ends up on his ass. And a third time as Lochness sort of shrugs him to the ground. The Shadow does a really dramatic forward roll to tag out. Come on, Lochness was never going to catch up with you, Shadow, that was dumb. Kenny Shaw charges into the ring and runs straight at Lochness, but he's kicked down. The Shadow also charges and he's also booted down. There's the elbow drop on Kenny Shaw, and that is the free. The Lochness is a bad loser and he drops the elbow on the Shadow too. Whilst this match wasn't exactly good, in any sense of the word, it did introduce me to perhaps my favourite jobber of all time. So for that reason, I'm giving it a D. Meanwhile on Nitro, the show opens up with the Big Show jumping Lochness on the ramp. He's screaming and going nuts yelling, "I told you." What did you tell him? Lex Luger enters the arena with his full entrance, ignoring them both. Match 6, Nitro, WCW television title match, Lex Luger vs Lochness. Lochness is counted out straight away. He never makes it to the ring. What a match, isn't it? Wait, hang on, how did the match start when Lochness never got in the ring? How's that fair? And by the way, no explanation is given to why the Dungeon of Doom beat up Lochness. I think they used some flimsy reason that the Big Show is jealous. Match 7, final match. Wait, what? What happened? Well, I'll get to it. Shut up or I'll smack you one. At Uncensored 1996, we got a promo from our hero. He calls Hart a weasel face and says Hart promised him a shot at the Hulkster. Mean Gene says he knows a good dentist and Lochness looks ready to kill him. Wow. So it's Giant versus Giant. Lochness versus the Big Show with Jimmy Hart. The two big men have a stare-off. Big Show aggressively knees him and chops him in the corner. A boot choke follows. Lochness fights back with a headbutt, of which the commentary describe as tremendous. Big Show isn't too hurt and he starts slamming Nessie's meathead into the corner. Unfortunately for the Big Show, he misses his charging splash in the corner and he goes flying out of the ring. It's actually a pretty nice spot for this match. For some reason, Jimmy Hart forces him straight back into the ring. Let him rest, Jimmy, for God's sake. Nessie grabs the Big Show's haircut and chops him down to the mat. The Loch Ness Monster does land his elbow drop finisher, but no cover is made. He instead attempts a second one. He misses the second one. The Giant gets back up. He tries to clothesline Loch Ness out of the ring, but he's not having any of that. Instead, the Big Show kicks him in the throat and the Loch Ness collapses. The Giant hits a leg drop, and that's the three. What? Just like that? The crowd barely react to the three. Loch Ness did nothing again and could barely move. Why was he beaten so easily? So disappointing. It's an S for game over. Well, as it turned out, it was back to England for Loch Ness because he was very unwell and was diagnosed with lymphoma. Haystacks would pass away just 2 years after his final match at the age of 52. Very sad, and even sadder when you think about how Giant Haystacks would only ever really be remembered in the US as a complete joke. Bischoff has since said he had no idea who Haystacks even was. God, I want to smack the leader of the Grey Crew so badly. Well, that entire run was incredibly strange and bad. I don't want to speak ill of the dead, but that was honestly one of the worst runs in Ring of the Hawk history. Let's keep this brief or you'll knock out my teeth. Shove this entire run in the zone. It's the worst so far. Lochness is possibly WCW's most forgettable star, and if you don't agree with that, I'll run you down in my car. Suck Sonny Siaki's ass!
We're gonna do the Loch Ness Monster in WCW. Gotta make sure we get 10 minutes out of it somehow, even though the longest match is 2 minutes long. And that's how long it takes to take off your girl's thong.